I think I can tag if it started. So
Yes.
just a moment, please. Facebook.
I think we are live.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think we're live now.
So maybe I can edit this and tag you and Jay. My network is not good. Do you hear me okay right now?
I can hear you okay, yes, and looks like it shows we're live on Facebook right now.
Okay. I'll quickly tag you. Forward. And Jay. Okay. I think we're okay now. Okay. Yes. So thank you for having me today again. And can I start with your introduction? Would you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Well, Nagy, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. My name is Gordon So, and I am one of the co-founders at Atlanta for Success. And my business partner, Jay Jayakanthan, had the honor and privilege of being interviewed by you yourself was the last week of the week before, I think?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's pretty incredible. And Nagy, it's 9:30 p.m. here where we are right now, 9:30 p.m. in the evening. What time is it where you are in Japan right now?
10:30 in the morning.
Wow, 10:30, so 10:30 in the morning.
Yes.
Isn't it amazing? Like we're like in two different, like you're out in the east, it's morning, and we're here in the west, and it's evening, but it feels like it doesn't feel like there's a distance. It feels like you're right here, like we're sitting right in front of each other talking. This is amazing.
Yes, I think so too. I can't believe that we have like 13 hours time difference.
Yeah, 13-hour time difference. Yeah.
Can you tell me about Landed for Success?
Absolutely. Landed for Success, there's a couple of things about Landed for Success. Number one, Landed for Success, our goal is we're dedicated, Nagy, to all the members, like all the members within the group, for their personal development, their personal growth, and their skill development. And one of the things that we'd like to offer our members is the opportunity for them to be able to network. Okay. And I'm sure you probably heard of this before. Somebody once said, your network determines your net worth. Right? So your network determines your net worth. So who is in your network? So who are we, who's in our network? Who are we associating ourselves with? Okay. And so Landed for Success, we have a couple components. We have a Facebook group that has about 17,000 people in there right now. Yeah. And it just keeps on growing. And so the Facebook group is free. And it's mainly for entrepreneurs. So for business owners and entrepreneurs. So this gives them an opportunity to, to share with the rest of the group. Who are they? What do they do? Like what business are they in? What do they do? So they can actually perhaps meet, connect, and find others they can do business together with. Okay. And then from that Facebook group, once a month, Nagy, we have a meetup.
Yes.
Okay. So it's like before the pandemic, we could always meet, right? You can go meet somebody at their office. You can do a meeting in their boardroom. You can go to a restaurant. You can meet in person. But since the pandemic, it's funny because right here in Toronto, restaurants are still not open, believe it or not. So I'm not sure what it's like in Japan, but restaurants are still not open. And we can't even go to a restaurant and dine outside in a patio. If I go to, do you guys have something called Costco or Price Club or anything like that? So Costco, for example, here at home, if I went to a Costco right now, I can buy groceries, but everything else is roped off.
Oh,
it's roped off. I can't go buy a book. If I wanted to buy crayons for coloring, let's say for my baby granddaughter, I can't buy that. Everything's roped off. So we actually have still been locked down on the pandemic. Can you imagine, for over a year and a half now? My barbershop, for over 1 year now, I still can't go to a barbershop. They're still closed today. So can you imagine, Nagy, for business owners and entrepreneurs, how tough that is, right? Because if their business isn't open, they have no business, they have no customers, they have no clients, they have no income. So not only does that hurt, entrepreneurs financially, but I think it could be hard on them emotionally as well, right? So mental health and mental wellness is really important. So this is during the pandemic, but we believe in Landed for Success, even prior to the pandemic, business itself can be difficult. Right? There are challenges in business. And so mindset is really important. Personal development, personal growth, mindset, skill development, right? Learning skills. Like you and I shared earlier, for example, you have courses that you can teach entrepreneurs how to improve their skills. Right? One of them you were sharing, let's say, for example, YouTube. If a business wanted to learn how to develop a skill using YouTube to get more awareness, right? So that's kind of a little bit what we do at Landed for Success as well. So we like to provide opportunities for entrepreneurs to come together, to meet, to network, to learn from each other, to be inspired by each other, and perhaps connect and do business together with each other as well. So we have our free, Facebook group, social media. We actually have a paid membership group as well. So for the entrepreneurs who are a little bit more serious, we have a paid members area, and membership, it's membership is only, our annual membership, it's only $100 a year.
Okay.
Good, right? Because we want to make it so it's affordable. So it doesn't matter if somebody's a brand new entrepreneur, just getting started, or we have some entrepreneurs in our group who have already built multi-million-dollar businesces. Right?
Wow.
We have someone in our group. You met my friend Jay. One of his good friends, Kula, wrote this book here, and it's called Action Leads Success. Right? Action, right? Because people could have great ideas. Every business has a really good idea. So you can have a good idea, you can plan it, but if you don't do something about it, if you don't act on it, then nothing happens, right? So Kula, for example, very successful businessman, very humble, very successful. He had someone in his 20s, in his mid-20s, approach him and said, "Hey, I need some help with a business idea." And this young man, Nagy, had a business idea, and he said, when I was younger, I had problems learning math in school.
Okay.
Right? He says, now I think if when I was younger, if I had this strategy and this strategy and this strategy, I think I would have done better. So he says, now I want to turn this into an app. So he approached Kula, and Kula helped him out, coached him, mentored him, connected him with the right mentorship. And that company, Nagy, it's called Knowledge Hook. It's only been in business for about 5 years.
Okay.
Guess what this company was just valued at? Take a wild guess. Forbes magazine just did an article on this company, this young man. And guess how much this company is valued at right now? No right or wrong answer.
5. I'm not sure about D. 500.
You can say it in yens if you want, and then we can maybe convert it into USD.
Okay. So you are talking about total value?
Yeah, the total value of the company. Okay. Basically, it's a startup. It's only 4 or 5 years old, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it's already valued as 600 million USD.
600 million USD.
Is that incredible?
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. So Forbes magazine just did an article on this company. Mm-hmm. And they think that this company will probably become a unicorn. It'll become a multi-billion-dollar company. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I'm sharing that story with you is not to impress you, or anyone who's watching or listening, that, Kula was able to help this young man, mentor him, right? And help him, build a billion-dollar company. Mm-hmm. But just to share with you, that's what you were asking me, what's landed for success. Just to give you on one side, we have individuals that are maybe so brand new in business, they're just starting and may not even know what they're doing. On the other side, you have someone that's very successful already and have built million-dollar businesses, multi-million-dollar businesses, and exited with, very successful businesses. And they're here to help coach, mentor, and network with all the members in Landed for Success.
Mm-hmm. How long Landed for Success? When did you start it?
The idea started, I think around October, November 2019. So not that long.
Wow.
Right. So this year will be about 2 years. Right.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought.
Yeah, only about 2 years. Only about 2 years. But the neat thing, Nagy, is, you met Jay Jayakantan. Jay is very humble. For example, Jay has been in business here in Toronto for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And he was on the board with the Tamil Chamber of Commerce, and he sits on a number of other boards and charities and so on. And so he's well established as a businessman here in Toronto. So even though Landed for Success is new, it's actually not new because we've already been doing similar like this for many years. And that's one of the reasons why we've been able to grow so quickly, not just locally here in Toronto, but literally all around the world, right? Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Would that be okay?
Okay.
How did you learn about Landed for Success yourself?
I found it on Amazon.com. Wow. I forgot. I'm not sure how I found it, but I was looking books, and I think I was looking at entrepreneurship category, maybe. Okay. And when I was going through, I found the book, Landed for Success. What was the title? I'm sorry.
Landed for Success, Untold Stories.
Untold Stories, yes. And I found Jay's name, and I found him, I think, on Facebook. And yeah, I think I messaged him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that amazing? So you messaged him. Let me. So the book itself. What caught your interest about the book? Like what got you interested in even wanting to read it?
Because they're interviewing people, 18 people, was it?
Yes, 18 people.
And they all have different backgrounds, and so I think their definition of success is different, but
yes.
So I was interested in many stories. Yes.
Yeah. That's really neat because here you are, you're in Japan, we're out here in Canada.
Yes.
We got connected because of a book. Right? Because of a book, 18 different stories. Nagy, a friend of mine, his name is Larry Daniels. Larry is not an author in this book, but Larry is a member in Landed for Success. Right? And we talked about a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. But Larry, I had asked Larry before we launched Landed for Success on Amazon if he could actually read the book and then give us a 5-star review on Amazon. Okay. So he said, well, let me read it first. And it took him about 10 days to read the book. He took the time to read it. And he said, Gordon, I was blown away. So what do you mean? And he said, for about 20 years, I've been studying Napoleon Hill. Because Think and Grow Rich has 13 principles of success. And then Napoleon Hill has written many, many books. One of the books Napoleon Hill wrote was called The Science of Success. And there's 17 principles of success in there. And he said, one of the success principles that I teach is about, one of the principles I teach is about what's not about resiliency, like being resilient, right? And he said, there's a story in there. Her name is Pamela. I don't want to give away the story. I'm hoping so, if your friends are watching, will actually go to Amazon, buy a copy of the book and read adversity. So I teach adversity, right? Think about the pandemic right now. And you think of people that are going through adversity right now. Tough times, right? They're going through it financially, emotionally, physically. They could be going through like adversity. And he said, when I read Pamela's story, so all of a sudden I'm sitting here in Florida and I'm thinking, whatever adversity I have, I don't have adversities anymore. Right? So when I started comparing my story to hers, it was like, oh my goodness, like, wow. And I said, well, what do you mean? So Pamela's story, if it's okay, I'd love to share her story with you very quickly, right? Because he said adversity, because Napoleon Hill says through every adversity, like every adversity, right? Every adversity, every failure, and every heartache. I mean, how many of us have faced tough times, right? Faced heartaches. I've got here a book from a friend of mine. It's called Journey. And Journey, the mom and dad wrote this book because their son, who was in his mid-20s, committed suicide. Right? I mean, so mental health and mental wellness is so real. And I remember being in California when we were at the City Gala. It was a charity event. And the heartache. Can you imagine the heartache? I can't imagine having to have a child commit suicide, but that's what they went through, the heartache, right? So adversity, failure, heartaches, right? Napoleon said there's a seed of equal or greater opportunities. And so, when I read Pamela's story, here's Pamela, 2 little girls. I think at the time, her daughter's like maybe one or 3 years old. And her ex-husband now.
Okay.
Her ex-husband now, but he walked away from them. Imagine, walked away from her little girls, took the house. They had a business together. He took the business. So she now had no home, no money, no income. She's now basically homeless, and she had to look after 2 little girls on her own.
Okay.
Can you imagine?
I don't want to imagine.
Yeah, right? That was the position she was in.
Mm-hmm.
And she was able to bounce back,
Mm-hmm.
right? Again, I don't want to go through her whole story. She was able to pick herself back up.
Yep.
You know, and her story, like she wrote about her story, her landed for success story is unbelievable. It's like nothing short of a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
And when he said, when I read that, like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
whatever adversity I thought I had, it's nothing compared to what she's went through, and she landed for success.
Mm-hmm.
And so whether it's Pamela's story, Jay's story, my story, Eric, Carlos in Mexico, there's so many people in there, Alicia, and I don't want to leave out any names. There's 18 authors.
Mm-hmm.
I think when somebody reads the book, they're going to find their their own landed for success story
Mm-hmm.
from one of these authors.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so you asked me earlier, you know, landed for success, what do? We want to inspire, motivate people
Mm-hmm.
by providing opportunities for them to meet and network, by providing stories through books
Mm-hmm.
That they can learn from.
Mm-hmm. That's very nice. And you are going, landed for success. You have next book?
The next book, yes. Perhaps maybe somebody from Japan could be a co-author in their next book. What do you think? What do you think, Maggie? Yeah, our next book, it's Landed for Success Untold Stories. The theme is going to be from burnout to victory, from burnout to victory. So, you know, if you know anybody, right, who's experienced maybe burnout in their business, but they survived and they thrived, and maybe there's a story they have that can help somebody else that may be going through some of the same difficulties. So volume 2, we're looking at officially launching it in probably October, November this year.
Okay.
October, November this year. We have we just started taking applications, and I think we already have about 12 or 14 authors that are interested in participating in the second book. Yeah, and we'll have a total of 18 authors as well. A very good friend of mine who lives in the United Kingdom. He's actually in Dubai right now, doing some business there, but right. So now we have somebody from Elliot Hiller, who's already from the UK, who's in our first book. He's going to be in our second book again. And then we have a friend of mine from the UK who's going to be in the book as well. And we have somebody from Sri Lanka who wants to be in the book as well. So we're really becoming an international book with international stories.
Wow. Okay, I'm looking forward for it to read the book.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. So it's going to be really good.
I would like to ask you, in London for Success, there are so many entrepreneurs, and I think they know what they want to do and how they can help people in business. But in Japan, there's still many people, maybe especially young people, don't know what they can do as life work. And how do you think we can find one?
Ask me that question again. So young people, I didn't quite understand your question though.
Oh, okay. How we can find our life work, because we don't know what they want to do.
Okay. So one of my favorite books is Think and Grow Rich.
Yes.
I mentioned that earlier, and I mentioned my friend Larry. One of the things I was going to mention was Larry said, Gordon, he said, when I read the 18 stories, so he said, I don't even know if the authors themselves know it, but a lot of their stories And a lot of the things that they described on how they ended up succeeding are actually principles from Think and Grow Rich. For example, let's say persistence. Persisting and never giving up. Doesn't matter if it's in sports and arts and entertainment and business. Right? Can you think of a time where you know somebody who persisted and never gave up? Right? And the results. I was in Hong Kong. 4 years ago.
Yes.
And so my son, who's a millennial as well. So he went from playing college hockey in the US to moving to Hong Kong and playing hockey. Can you imagine? I grew up in Hong Kong. And when my parents moved to Canada, I tell people I am better with chopsticks than hockey sticks. I can't skate. So my son's in Hong Kong playing hockey, working in the finance industry. And he ends up playing hockey with someone who was originally from Japan.
Okay.
Who was originally from Japan. And so my son is now in his early 20s. He shows up to Hong Kong. This individual is now in his he's more mature now. We'll use that word. He was the captain for the men's ice hockey team at Yale University. Is that incredible? So now the two of them end up playing on the same hockey team together. And when I met him, he said, Mr. So, your son has given me, even though he's younger, he's given me so much more energy. He said, I actually love playing with him. He's made me feel young again. And I'm trying to keep up with them, and we're playing together, and we're having a really good time. But this individual was originally from Japan, went to Yale University. He was the captain of the men's hockey team, and he ended up working for a hedge fund, and he ended up working for George Soros. Imagine, there's the Warren Buffetts of the world, and there's George Soros of the world. And then he ended up starting his own hedge fund.
Wow.
And now he bought, just before the pandemic, he bought a professional ice hockey team in Japan. Isn't that incredible? Right? And so it doesn't matter if you're young or old. You got to have a dream. You have to find something that you love. Because how many of us do things because we're trying to make somebody else happy? Maggie, Jay and myself, right? Jay was originally from Sri Lanka, so from the South Asian community, right? Whether it's a South Asian community, whether you're from Japan, I'm from Hong Kong. I grew up born in Hong Kong. We're the Asian countries, right? What do our parents want us to do? They want us to get a good education, right? Like you got to study, right?
Yes.
Don't play sports. You got to study, and you got to be a doctor.
Yes.
You got to be a lawyer. You got to be an engineer, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but I just want to be a beach bum. Does that make sense? We all our lives we're told what to do. I think what Napoleon Hill teaches here is desire. Right? Desire is the starting point of all achievement. That's what Napoleon Hill says. Desire is one of the principles. What do you want? See, what is it that you want? So until you figure out what you want, how would you even know what to ask for? So what do you want? First, figure out what do you want? What are you passionate about? What's your dream? What is it that you want to do? I think that's the first thing young people need to figure out. So stop trying to live somebody else's dream, live your own dream. Now, here's the thought, okay? A friend of mine, she just said this week, she's got a magazine, and she said, why is it, think about this one for a minute, Aggie. Why do we try to teach people to retire at age 60?
Why?
Right? Now think about this for a minute. We keep on saying, hey, at age 55 or age 60, let's work towards retirement. So at age 60, we can retire. And she said, instead of trying to teach people to retire at age 60, why don't we teach 20-year-olds how to become wealthy Instead of trying to teach 20-year-olds to retire at age 60, let's teach our 20-year-olds how to start becoming wealthy now. So I think that's one of the things that I believe, that when you're saying younger folks that are younger, figure out how to make money now. Figure out how to get wealthy now. Think of ways how you can think and grow rich. And being rich and being wealthy isn't just about money. It's not, right? What about your health? Your health is your wealth as well. Your relationship, right? So it's not just money. It's nice to have money. When people tell you money's not important, well, I can tell you, I've been there when I had no money, and when I have money, and it's nice to have money. Don't let anybody tell you that money's not important, right? Some people say, well, money's the root of all evil. It doesn't say that. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. But money in itself isn't bad, is it? It's what we do with the money. So if you've been blessed with a business that you're doing really, really well, wouldn't it be great if you had a charity, let's say, and you can support that charity. You know, a friend of mine is a real estate agent here in Toronto. And if he's watching, I'm going to cross my fingers that he's going to be an author in chapter 2. I just spoke to him today, not chapter 2, in volume 2. He was in another book with me called Empowering Women to Succeed. There were fabulous stories there too. And he's got a real estate business. You know what he does, Nagy? He takes $300 at a time. And there's a little village back in India that he helps them build a well. Doesn't sound like a lot of money, does it? But that's how he's giving back, because that's where he was from. And so they'll build a well, and now these villagers don't have to walk, right? Distances to get water. So it's not a lot of money. But for somebody who doesn't have $300, it is a lot of money. So doesn't matter if you're young, if you're blessed to have a business where you can do well, think of the impact that you can now make in your communities.
So we need to think about how we use money and how we earn money.
Yeah, right. Earning money is easy. We're always going to make money. Everyone's going to make money. It's easy to make money. Go get a job at Tim Hortons. Go get a job at McDonald's if you have to make money. Anybody can make money, right? There's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. If you haven't read that book, get a copy of it, The Richest Man in Babylon. How do you pay yourself first? So I'm not sure what taxes are like in Japan. Here, we got to pay, we work, we pay taxes.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. And they want us to pay tax on our retirement. When we retire, they're going to tax us on our retirement income. They tax us on the money we make. They tax us when we go buy a book. They tax us when we go buy groceries. They tax us when we go to a restaurant. They tax us when we buy clothing. They tax us for everything.
Yes.
I mean, you know, we every month we pay our utility bills first. Like, how many of us have a what do you have? Do you have an iPhone, or do you have a?
I have iPhone.
iPhone, right? So we'll pay every month. We pay our phone bill. We pay everybody else first. Start paying ourselves first. Does that make sense? So start paying ourselves first. Find an advisor that can help you take your money and grow that money. And what's really neat about young people today is go find a robo-advisor where you can actually invest yourself. If you have to, pay yourself first. If you're in your early 20s, start paying yourself first now. If you're in 30s, start paying yourself first. I'll take a percentage of everything you make every month, invest it. Do it yourself, or find a really good robo-advisor that you can do your own investing with. And by the way, in Land of Success book, Akil, reach out to Akil. Akil is a very, very good friend of Jay's. His story is incredible. He went from Russia. He was going to be a doctor.
Okay.
Studied to be a doctor. He ended up in Toronto in the finance business. And he's one of the most successful. He was one of the most successful managers in the insurance business for one of the biggest insurance companies in Canada. And now he's got his own firm. And he's kind of like the modern day version of the wealthy barber, or the modern day version of the richest man in Babylon, right? So it's, and he introduced me, Nagy, to a young fellow. He was 29 years old. When I was at his office, you were asking me about folks that are younger, okay? Well, I was talking to him, I had met him for the first time, and he's calling me Mr. So. Like, don't call me Mr. So, that's my dad. And he was telling me that he had exited 2 companies already. He'd already started and exited 2 companies. And I was asking, well, how much did you sell it for? I was thinking it was a small amount. I was thinking maybe he sold his company for $100,000 or maybe $200,000 or maybe $1 million. He sold his second company for about $30 million.
$30 million.
USD.
Oh, USD.
He's 29 years old. Like, wow. Right? Like when I was 29, I don't even remember what I was doing. Right? So there are young people out there today that are smart, they're sharp. The startups are something that they're getting into, and finding the right mentorship, right? Find the right mentorship. Get as much experience as you can, right? Go work for someone. Go work. Doesn't have to be a big company. Work for a company where the ownership is really ready to teach you and coach you and mentor you. Right? Because during your 20s and your 30s, go work for somebody. Because if you're going to screw up your own company, you might as well screw up somebody else's company first. I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, right? Learn from your experiences. And then after your 30s, if you're thinking, okay, I've got enough experience now. I made some money, I've got enough experience, and if I still want to be an entrepreneur, then go start your own company. Go start your own business.
So we need to get many experience, and that will tell what we want to do, what our dream is.
I think experiences are important. Would you agree?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
What is your dream?
What is my dream?
Yes.
Wow. My dreams are probably a little bit different now, Nagy, because you can tell by the color of my hair now, right? So my kids are now grown, right? They have amazing careers. They're in all different parts of the world. And for the first time, I have like 2 little grandchildren. And so I want to be able to spend more time with them. I want to be able to spend more time with them. And what I love about what we're doing here at Landing for Success is because of the pandemic.
Yes.
It actually brought brand new opportunities that I never would have dreamt of. Right. So you remember the idea that through every adversity, there's a seed of equal or greater opportunity.
Yes.
So because of the pandemic, I was so used to doing live events, live in-person events, seminars, workshops, right? Conferences. They were live events, which meant a lot of manpower, women power, right? I had to be there. I had to physically be there. Well, when the pandemic hit and JJ Canthan said, Gordon, let's do Zoom meetings. I said, you can't do that. Nobody will attend. Nobody be interested. Like nobody wants to be in front of a computer. Look, a year later, we're still in front of a computer. So we've now actually been able to pivot. Right? Remember I mentioned to you my friend Kula?
Yes.
For example, he pivoted and he started a new business where he's done over $20 million worth of business with Amazon. Can you imagine? So we pivoted as well online. So our business now has allowed us to grow our business globally, not just locally, but on a global scale. And so that's one of my dreams, is to take Landing for Success so we will become a global company. We want to become one of the biggest personal development and skill development company that can help entrepreneurs all around the world, whether it's soft skills, right? Whether it's the soft skills, right? Or whether it's IQ or EQ. Because in business today, the IQ is there, right? Folks that are entrepreneurs, folks that are in business, they're so smart. Everybody knows what to do. They all know what to do. Do you agree with that? And if they don't, there are courses. You can take free courses on YouTube if you want, right? Or you can go and attend and learn. So learning is important. So we all have the IQ, but the EQ is also important as well. That emotional quotient, I think it's so needed today because, too many of us, especially I can talk about myself, growing up in the Asian communities, like we can't let people know that men don't cry. They say men don't cry. Of course we do, right? We're all going to have those bad days. We're all going to have those challenges. So our EQ, our emotional quotient, so our mental health and mental wellness is really important. And so that's one of the things we want to be able to do in Landing for Success is to be able to help entrepreneurs with their mindset. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's what
yes.
Every day we can wake up and through a story, through a book, through a networking event, through teaching, through coaching, through interviews like the one you and I are having right now. And we just inspire just one person to say, yeah, right? Like life's worth living, right? And that every person, like everyone we know has, my mentor said to me when I was younger, when I was struggling, said, Gordon, you have, like every one of us has the seeds of greatness inside of us. Right? Sometimes we may not even, we need somebody to say, yeah, like you have a seed of greatness that's inside of you. We need somebody to believe in us and say, you can do it. Like whatever challenges and obstacles you have, you can do it. You want to start a business, you have no money, then find somebody who's got money that will invest in you. Does that make sense? I don't know how to build a website. Find somebody who can help you build a website then.
Yes.
Right? Like Landing for Success. I love Landing for Success. I don't know how to build a website. Jay does. I don't know how to build an app. Jay does. That's the whole theory of Napoleon Hill talking about creating a master alliance.
That's very
my
nice.
friend Elliot Hiller. Elliot has a course that teaches people how to be more likable. Is that nice? Like who wouldn't want to be more likable? So if somebody has a company, a business, and they want to improve their communication skills.
Yes.
Like you mentioned, we had a conversation before your prior career, right? You had clients that you had to go and serve, didn't you? You had clients that would buy your products and services.
Yes.
Well, no, for them to buy your product, don't they have to know you and like you first? They have to know you, like you, and trust you first.
Yes.
When you first started, were you scared or nervous at all? Remember the very first time when you made your first call to a client? Were you nervous? Do you remember?
I was not. I was nervous.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. Yes.
And then eventually, you got so good at what you were doing, you didn't even think about it. Right? You became so unconsciously competent. Like you just did it. Like, right? It's like today I see people driving, but they're so good at driving now. Like I see some women, they're drinking a coffee, they're talking on their phone, they're doing it at the same time. Like they're so consciously competent in what they do, right? So, or they're unconsciously competent. They just do it even without thinking about it. And that's what we see Landing for Success, being that catalyst that can help individual learn how to believe in themselves. So you mentioned earlier, what's the one thing young people should do? That's actually one of the things that I think young people need to do. And we're all young people. When you think about it, the first thing we got to do is we got to believe in ourselves, right? And if there's a message I could leave for them and any entrepreneur is, I'll leave this thought, okay? Maggie, my mentor once said, leaders. Let's talk about leaders for a minute. And he said, leader of one, leader of many. If you can't lead one, you can't lead any. Think about that for a minute, okay? Leader of one, leader of many. If you can't lead one, you can't lead any. So who's the first person we need to lead?
Myself.
Yeah, see how brilliant you are? We gotta lead ourselves first. We gotta believe in ourselves first. If we don't believe in ourselves, how can we expect anybody else to believe in us? Let's become a leader ourselves first. Well, whatever baggage we have in the past that's holding us back, let's deal with it. If we don't know how to deal with it, find somebody that we can talk to, somebody we can trust. Right? Have a conversation, have a chat, find a coach, find a mentor. Get rid of some of the stuff that's holding us back so we can actually move forward.
Yes. I'll lead myself first. So London for Success will be more international, and they will help people grow and network people.
Yeah, network, grow, right? Learn. Like, I have a friend, Aggie. So network marketing. Are you familiar with network marketing? Multi-level marketing, network marketing. In Japan, network marketing is huge, right? So I have a friend, his name is Joe, Joe Garcia. There's somebody you should interview. Yeah, Joe Garcia. Joe is going to be a coach and a mentor in Landed for Success. Okay. Now, I've known Joe for over 30 years.
Long.
His company that he represents a company called NHT Global. And prior to the pandemic, Fortune 100 magazine, they are a network marketing company, and they are a publicly traded company as well. Fortune 100 magazine ranked them as the #1 fastest growing publicly traded company in the world. Can you imagine? The #1 fastest growing publicly traded company in the world 2 years in a row by Fortune 100 magazine. Like, these guys know how to build. So we're going to have Joe, for example, he's going to teach a course on how do you build a successful network marketing company? How do you build a successful network marketing business? How do you build a international business? Maggie, have you ever heard of a company called Mary Kay Cosmetics?
I'm not sure.
Mary Kay Cosmetics is a very successful company. They're a direct sales, and they sell cosmetics. Mary Kay.
Mary Kay.
Right? When I was growing up, when I was probably 9 or 10, right? Growing up here in Toronto, one of my Sunday school teachers, he ended up being the CEO for a company called Mary Kay. The company was doing about $500 million a year in sales at the time. And he was the CEO that took that company to over $4 billion in sales. And he's got several of his own companies. They're direct sales companies. And he's done over $40 billion in sales. So these are individuals who have a proven track record. Does that make sense? So they're not just talking about it. They didn't just take a course last weekend. Right? Or they didn't just take a course 3 months ago, and now they're saying they're experts. Like, these are individuals that have proven track records. Does that mean if somebody learns from them, it's going to be guaranteed that they're going to succeed? No, because it still comes back to what you and I just talked about earlier. The person who wants it, how bad do they really want it? Do they actually really know what they want? Do they actually know what their desires are? Because too many people chase money instead of chasing their passion. And if you just chase money instead of your passion, it's easy to give up. Right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The question I asked you before, what is your dream, was my last question for this interview. So, yeah, thank you for telling your stories today.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. This is amazing. Thank you. It's a lot of fun.
Can I close Facebook Live?
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Nagy. And